All right. Good evening to our brothers and sisters in Monrovia, Liberia. I know you're joining us on Freedom FM 87.9. We say welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the most informative. We are not the loudest, but the most informative platform coming from the diaspora. This is Liberia in the Sharais, and I'm your host today, Augustine Sharif. I'll be joined here shortly by two of my good friends, the CEO himself, Dr. Positive, is going to be joining me. He's going to be making a pit stop. And Mr. Sapolucia might be joining me here. I don't know if Mr. George is going to be on the platform today, but we are going to get the show on the road. Again, we want to wish everybody happy November. This is the month. A lot of things are going to be happening. We are approaching the holiday season, and things are happening in the country. So we say welcome to Liberation Rise, and get ready. Let us get this show on the road. Today, though, October just ended. Those of you in the States are celebrating Halloween. I heard people are celebrating Halloween in Liberia now. So those of you guys that celebrated Halloween, hope you guys have fun. You had enough candies. But look, we say welcome to November. And we are just going to be looking at some of the trendy stories that made news, some of the headlines that made news in Liberia in 2025 October. So, hey, stay tuned. We are just going to get the show on the road. We've got some highlights that we want to be showing, and we want to see exactly where you guys are, where you stand on certain topic. And so, stay tuned, stay with us, share the broadcast. As soon as I get things set up here, we'll be getting the show on the road. We'll get things done, and we just want to make sure that everybody's in the know. So, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Share the broadcast. We will be right back to continue this.
Oh, hail, Liberia, hail. Oh, hail, Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be out. The new name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers. Oh, hail, oh, hail, oh, hail, oh, hail, the Lone Star forever. Oh, hail, Liberia, oh, hail, Liberia, hail. In union strong, success is sure. We cannot fail in God's up above.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. And this is Augustine Sharif, and I am going to be joined here shortly by two of the voices that you are very familiar with, Mr. Sapolucia and Dr. Positive himself. But today, though, we are just kind of reviewing the month of October. Today's table talk, so we are just going to be touching subject matters that, headlines, some of the stories that made headlines in Liberia in the month of October. And so we are going to get this show started. And I want to start from the end of October and maybe work my way up to the 1st of October, but we're not going to be touching everything, of course. But one of the stories that just recently made news, one of the headlines that recently made news, is the simple fact that Liberians, rightfully so, Liberians are celebrating, they are jubilating, they are happy. And again, I'm not saying they are running up and down the street, but from all the interviews I have seen on the local media in Liberia, it just seems as though that people are super excited about the fact that Liberians, again, they were able to secure a 36 months visa. When I was in Liberia, the few times I've been in Liberia, one of the things I've heard from Liberians, including my brother who is in the the AFL. One of the things I've heard from my own brother who is in the AFL, he told me, he said, why is it that Liberians can get 2 3 year visa? We only get this 1 year, 6 month visa or whatever visa. And so this news actually, it was one of those that he called me and said, yes, we finally got the 3 year visa. So now we can go to the embassy. If we get granted the visa, it will be for 3 years. We don't have to keep doing this every time. We'll look at the economic impact. We'll look at the economic impact that it will have on local Liberians, and we'll look at the pros and the cons. We'll look at all of these different things. Yes, you got 3 year visa, but in the grand scheme of things, does it matter? Does it matter if you get visa for 1 month? Does it matter if you get it for 3 years? Why are people so celebratory about this particular news? But we'll talk about it. So I'll have the guys come and join me, and we'll be touching on that in a little bit here and see exactly if this is even newsworthy. Again, it is me being guys, don't shoot the messenger. Basically, I talk my own. Everybody talk their own, right? I talk my own, you talk your own. You're celebrating that you get visa for 3 years. I'm celebrating I get visa for 3 years. Is this newsworthy? Is this something that Liberians should be celebrating? And but from everybody I've talked to, including my friends, including my brothers back home, they are all excited about this. So, Mr. Sabalusia, there's some kind of echo in the back there. I don't know if you hear me clearly, but I get some kind of feedback from your end, because I'd like to hear your opinion on this particular story. I don't want to jump past it real quick. So
I don't have anything back here.
okay, so I don't know. I think I can hear you clearly. So welcome to the
Okay.
show. I know you just came from church. Thank you for joining me and on this short notice. But basically, though, I just started with the top story that we heard. Liberians celebrating, they're excited about being granted 3 year visa. 3 year visa. But when you heard the news, Mr. Sapolicia, hey man, you're in America, so be nice. Because your brothers in Liberia will say that made America, that why he happy. When you heard the news, was it something that worth celebrating? Was it newsworthy to you? Was it something you even like? Eh, because people were super excited. Some people were saying that we should actually call the foreign minister and congratulate her and give her kudos for a job well done. What do you think, Mr. Sapolicia?
Well, first of all, I think the way the headline was written by those that posted it were not fair to the Liberian people if they understand what it means. Because B1 and B2 visas are not visa that is accessible to anybody, that to just anybody. People who got money, who already is something that's already there for people who can use it. So it is not something that say, okay, because B1, B2 have been extended to 2 or 3 years, then it means, oh, you who are living in Baila or in Ganta, or
Stephen, we
Stephen,
got
we
some
get some
for
for
Stephen.
Stephen.
it's
It's
from,
from
yeah,
wherever
you
you're sharing, the
of
of
course
course
not
not
echo.
echo.
Yeah. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
so
Sal.
it doesn't mean that whoever the guy who is riding wheelbarrow can have access to it. No, this is already for a band who got business, and I'm gonna use some names because these are people who got established business, whether they're in government or not. Like Musa Belede, before he became representative, this man had his own business. Like Eddie Snow is a businessman. Okay, like the top business guys,
The
they already
Urix.
have,
The
yeah,
Urix.
they already got money, so they can always come to America whenever they want to. So there's the visa is that extension is just for them, so that when they say, okay, I want to go to America to do for a business trip, America needs that money. Of course, they want to extend it. It don't really benefit Liberia, in my opinion. It may benefit some Liberians, but it benefit America more because every time anybody travels to America as a foreigner, you are bringing with you money. You have to stay either in a hotel, you got to buy food, you got to do something in America that will require you spending money. So it's not really
Somebody
benefiting
said
Liberia. So
it's amazing you say that. We'll have a good conversation, brother. It's amazing you say that because I
yeah,
was watching I was watching this documentary and they stopped this guy at the immigration stopping, and basically this is a show that's running. Immigration asking, say, hey, what are you here for? He said, I'm here for vacation. How much do you have in your pocket? He said they checked the entire money the man had was $500. They say it's not enough to hold you here. They will send you back. So they send
yeah,
him back to his country of origin,
yeah.
right? Because you're speaking truth. When you come in, the government want to see what is the economic impact. They measure all of those things. how much is tourists bringing into the country?
Yeah.
What is the economic impact to tourism when you come into the country? So it is not just we're giving you visa. We're not. They're not just giving it to you and myself when we were Yana boys in Monrovia.
Yeah. So that's what Liberians need to be educated on. It's because that's what I'm saying. The headline that was given, it was misrepresented because they did not give the implication of these visas to the Liberians, to the common wheelbarrow boy, to the marketeers, right? They didn't give them the insight of what it means. Is the visa does not benefit Liberia in any way, shape, or form. No, it does not. It
Yeah,
benefits America because
yeah.
if I'm a millionaire in Liberia and I've come to most, and we know Liberians, we are flamboyant. Okay, if a money guy is coming here, what are your government official coming here? Because the government going to pay his bill, so he's going to live in 4 or 5 star hotel. Guess what? That $400-500 he's going to pay per night. So that money is going to the American economy. Okay, the employing receptionist, anybody think about Uber driver and whatever you talk about, restaurant employees. Those are the people that are benefiting. That's the American government that is benefiting. This visa does not benefit the typical Liberians at all. It doesn't give any how to call it. It's not giving any money to the Liberian government because you pay visa fee to the American government. That's one. That's the first place you start from. You buy a plane ticket. Liberia does not own a plane. So if Liberia does not own a plane, that money is not going to the Liberian people. Okay. So you pay money to another foreign entity that owns a plane. Then the person flies to America. He or she comes to the airport, check in on a cab. That money goes to the Liberian economy. I mean American economy. He check into a hotel. He goes to a restaurant. He buy food. Whatever he does is going to the American economy and not the Liberian economy. So this process does not really benefit Liberia in its totality. Not even 10% of the money that is being generated from this process benefit that goes to Liberia.
So let's put it this way, because I really want us to pick up on another story. But let's go back this way, right? Let's look at this hypocrisy of this whole thing. Because when you look at it, let's say the visa, if it was granted to everybody, like we're talking about, let's be hypothetical here for a second, give it to everybody. But now we have to look at the strategic thing that actually led to this extension in the first place, right?
Yes.
If the visa was the visa first, if they were giving it for 6 months or 1 year, and it was so difficult to get it in the first place, now think about the difficulty that someone will have to now go through to be able to get this new extension or this new visa. Because only a small percentage, on average, somebody River says, I'll go stay to a house, no hotel. Good check. Good. River say you my brother, but check this out. Steven, what you got some noise in the background, some echo. I don't know why it is. It's something like a TV.
You know, got two. You may have two window open.
My computer running back.
Yeah, let's go back to the point I'm trying to make, right? On average, it's very possible. I don't have the number, but it's very possible that you have over, let's be conservative and say 3,000 people apply for visa in Liberia every year. I'm being conservative. Out of that 3,000, it would be very, very careful to say maybe 8 or 10 people will get a visa. So what benefit does it make if even you're giving a visa for 3 years, but only 1 person or 5 person getting that visa? What benefit does it bring to the Liberian people that we should celebrate? Maybe I'm just being mean, but go for it. Stephen,
yeah, so gentlemen, I happy y'all say the visa doesn't benefit the common people, but I beg to differ. We must give our ministers credit, right? The first thing is a business visa is for people like you clearly said, people that have money. So you and myself, the Yana board and me, our donut seller, you were selling paper on our education. We couldn't get our visa. So that's the first thing. We didn't qualify for that visa. So let's take ourselves from there. Now, the person that coming here, what President Bwaka or the foreign minister will say is, this visa grant Liberian businesses the opportunity to come to America, not just once. You can come, negotiate your contract, come back and see the product being made for you, and come back and then complete your project, your purchase. So for businesses, they don't have to constantly apply for visa. So I just checked. I don't know how true it is, but It's $452, right? $452 for the application fee. That I don't believe it because Trump then increased the price on everything, right? That's what Google gave me, right? So
Biden money.
Imagine the thing is, it's going to benefit America one way or the other. Just doing a small calculation, you add hotel 1,500. I mean, the man I can sleep in advanced hotel. I mean, I just put my lay 150 a night hotel. That's
I mean, we're going to
1,000.
Riverside Pro House. They may already give me room. I don't know about you. I get
No,
room.
not everybody know Riverside Pro now. So, and the man all the way in some hole somewhere. No, not everybody will come there. And even when they come, they ain't living a papa life. They go in high class, so they go into the top hotel and everything. So at least $200-300 a night, right? So that is going to the U.S. government. But if you look at the overall picture, you'll say the benefit of a business in Liberia for coming to America is you have the ability to come here and negotiate on behalf of the Liberian people. You get goods and services that you will take to Liberia, and the common Liberian people can buy it. That's where you and myself can come in. When they bring that flour, after negotiating the flour, my Oman buy it, and I can go sell my donut on my head. So that way, my Oman can buy sell donut. I can sell donut for my Oman and pay my little school fee. So in that way, the common people will still benefit in the long run if you look at the big picture. So that's my take. I think there's some benefit for the Liberian people. And I see Sapolozia shaking your head. Let me hear what you got to say.
But no,
Yeah.
I will not let you and Sapolozia fight today. You both wearing blues. I will not let you fight today. I will fight between you guys. I'll say, I know what Sapolozia are going to go. I will let him say it after I jump in here a little bit. But Stephen, you know, I see the excitement. I see you. That's why we call you Dr. Positive. You always kind of have this positive swing that you put on stuff. I like the shirt. You always have this swing that you put on, spin that you put on it. But check this out. Before the extension was even put in place, do you know these business owners, these people with the H-1B1 visa, do you know these people never even struggle to get visa? They never struggle. They will always come. Musa, these people are coming and going.
No,
Our friend that work at the that just worked for USAID, that brother was coming and going. There was no issue there. So it's not like they were having problem before and they were complaining and say, "Oh, y'all need to extend our stay because we can't negotiate our contract in 6 months." They were coming and going.
So Sherry, give me about 6 months, then I will tell you whether you and myself qualify for true. Because a friend of mine been wanting to come to America. This person have their business down Waterside, right? It's not a big business, but the person have been able to travel to China, Dubai, everywhere else around the world. But America, they've been having problem getting visa. So I'm going to read the rules and regulation on how to apply for this visa and help this person apply for it. Few months from now, if that person get that visa, I'm going to come back here and tell you now the common people are eligible to get that visa. You understand? So that's I will give a test.
My question, Sapolozia, I'll make it simple. You just answer my question.
Yeah,
Sapolozia,
let
go
me
ahead.
make it simple for the brother. They didn't yet. Nothing changed. The rules on how to get the visa, the criteria to meet to get this visa did not change. The only thing they're doing is like Mr. That's a positive. Is that somebody telling you to go to college is 4 years. Okay, what instead of you taking just 4 years to get out a bachelor, we're extending it to 6 years. We're not telling you the interest is going to be waived. We're telling you any other thing is going to be waived. It's just the same thing. The only thing is we're extending the length of time you can be in college. That's all. Now, let me come to my point I wanted to make when I was shaking my head. There is no economic benefit for Liberia. Okay? One, there is no way a Liberian businessman will come to America and have anything manufactured from here and be sold in Liberia for a typical Liberian man to buy. That is inaccurate. If you sell that information to people, you're lying to them. You can easily go to China and see something manufactured there, and you sell it in Liberia, and the common businessman will make profit. I know this because I have people who go to China and buy goods and take it to Liberia. You and I in America, most of the goods you and I buy is not made in America, because if it is made in America, you and I who live in America cannot afford it. So we should not be selling this kind of misrepresentation, because I don't want to use the other word, but we shouldn't misrepresent the situation here, because there is no way Musa Belede, for example, or we using Musa Belede not because he's a lawmaker, but because he has business. That's the only reason I'm using him. because he had businesses running before he became a lawmaker. So I'm not using Musa Belede as a lawmaker. I'm using his name as a businessman. So before he supported the started, because I know he got political party now, before the can start running after me, I'm using Musa Belede, the businessman. So he could come to America, he could negotiate. I don't know what contract he could negotiate in America to go to Liberia, but there is no way that he could take any goods from America to go to Liberia. In fact, there is no way that I see that you take services from America that would go to Liberia and it'd be cheaper for a common Liberian man to buy. I don't see it unless you can find me one that capacity. Then we can have the discussion. But this visa process has no benefit to the Liberian economy, and that's the angle I'm coming from, because I think the Liberian man, the common Liberian man, should celebrate this if it were having a positive impact on their economy. As long as it's not having any positive impact, it's not changing anything that's already happening, they should not be celebrating it. They should be looking for something else.
I don't want to wrap this up, but one of the things one of my friends told me, I like the statement that that Professor Spro is also making. He said, "There's no promise you'll pass in college, or maybe you'll end up being there 10 years, but after 6 years, we'll drop you." I visa thing, but one of the things my friend tell me, we're talking about the particular show. The guy told me, the guy said, "Look, the only way that you will benefit Liberians, if for some reason, Stephen, your friend are selling water, sir, you know, one of the main reason they deny Liberians visa now, the U.S. government have said Liberians, number one, we overstay. That's the big thing, right? And so when you now go to the embassy, the criteria is so high. A lot of people that are being rejected. This is what they tell them on a little slip they give them. They say no ties to their national country, that country. Yeah. Because when you go, they want to see. They will ask you, "Do you have a job? What do you?" Da, 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 da. You got family, you got this, you got that. If you can't show any of that, you can sell all your jeans and t-shirt down water side. They don't look at that to be a strong motivation that will bring you back to Liberia. So most people are getting denied based on no strong connection.
Okay, so in that case, right, Liberians, I spoke to business owners in Liberia, people that sell down water side. Don't overlook the people. They get a bill, they Jokafle bill, right? The Jokapla shoes, they get all those things from the US right there in your Houston place that you sitting right in Houston. So when I'm coming right behind your hotel, that why the people can get their stuff from Sapolosia. They get a bill from the US, they get from China, and they also get from China. They claim that it's not quality, right? So you and myself know that when people sending things from China to Liberia, they send less quality sometimes, right? When they send things to Africa, they say when you go to China, they got certain places, they will tell you this one for Africa, this one for the US, this one for that other place, Europe, right? So when you get a thing and the prices differ, when you go to the Africa place, the price cheaper. When you go to the Europe place, the price higher, right? So when people, the guy told me, the guy that get a bill from Houston, he told me, he said when we get a bill from China, it's not as valuable as the one from the US. So we still like to get stuff from the US because the quality is higher, right? So that's why people still like to come to the US. So going back to the businessman that is coming to America, he may not come to manufacture something, but food and other things that we get from the US, people like the food from the US more. So if you can come and go to Nestle or one of these companies and negotiate a deal to have food taken to Liberia, that's a good thing, because then we get value, we get high quality food, and then we also get food that are not expired, because people take in food that are expired, relabeling it and all those stuff. So hopefully you can get some good business people that can come and create value for our people. Sapolosi, I keep shaking your head.
Yeah, I will keep shaking my head, because let me tell you this. First of all, the food in America is not a value food. If that's where you want to go, because the nutrients in the food in America is not as qualified or has better quality than the one that is produced in Liberia.
Sapolosi,
So
eat lunch on me.
we need to stop giving brand names to
Sapolosi, eat lunch on me.
Let our people grow their food that will be more nutritional to them in Liberia than to buy brand name from America. So I will not encourage anybody to come to America to buy food to come to Liberia.
So guys, I will not let you guys follow my show.
No, but let me just ask a man simple question. The man eat lunch on me.
No, but,
the man eat lunch on me. Lunch on me.
But Steven, let's put it this way, okay? I don't want to take side here, but let's put it this way. You and myself will go to Liberia every day, every
Uh-huh.
year. Hopefully. But look, a lot of it when you go to Liberia, pay close attention to what you're buying. A lot of our stuff that in our supermarket or down water south, like the luncheon meat talking about, you will see a lot of Arabic writing on it. A lot of our things coming from the Arab countries, whether it's
Yes.
Lebanon, sometimes we don't even know where it come from. The Lucas say you must say used to drink with the children in our country. The Vimto you must say drinking. Look at the label. It not saying
Yeah.
made in USA. It said a lot of Lebanese writing that you must say can't read. So they just
Mhm.
put it that way. The luncheon
Yeah.
me forget that one. All a lot of Lebanese writing on it. But anyway, what I want to say, RP, River says Pro, I just sent you the link. I sent it to you on WhatsApp. If you want to come in, come in. But let me put it this way, though, guys. The one thing I was going to say, my friend was telling me, the only way Liberians would benefit from the deal, if the U.S. government, the U.S. embassy in Liberia said, if Stephen come to that embassy and he apply, I mean, he apply for a visa. Matter of fact, the U.S. embassy is smart now. You apply for the visa, you pay the money before they give
Yeah.
you a.
Hmm.
So that money is non-refundable. They tell you clean up, non-refundable.
Hmm.
So the guy was telling me now, if the only way I would celebrate this deal, this is a Liberian brother, live in Liberia. He want to come to the States. He said the only way I would celebrate this, if they would tell me that if I go for my interview, I fail my interview, they refund my money, then I'll be happy. But I mean, the criteria for me to even get visa is hard. So what are celebrating for? They're not going to
Yeah.
give me a visa. So whether they
Yeah.
make it 5 years, they make it 4 years, it not mean anything.
It makes
Because
no difference.
it
So
make no
that
Good
difference.
value,
luck, good
there's
luck on that,
yeah.
Sharif. The people
So
have to
Sharif,
pay. The people have to pay their employees. Like we say, we can get money by our own people. Send money to the embassy. We do all the application fee, and that's what we use to pay our own the U.S. embassy employees in Liberia. Because, like you said, there's no refund on your money. Once you pay that money, it's gone. Whether it's regular visiting visa or business visa, they ain't gotta. It's not by you paying, by you applying doesn't qualify you that you're gonna get them. You're gonna get in. You know, so
yeah. So
I
the
mean,
visa,
so you
you're
guys
on
stay
your own
fighting,
on getting refund.
stay up before my show. Let me bring Ross Pro in because the man he offered me a place to stay. So let me bring the man in. Let the man to it on, and then we'll go somewhere. Hey, RP, you on the show? Go ahead, bro. Make add your voice to this particular topic before we move on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You good?
Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for having me. This it's an interesting discussion. Thank you for this network. You guys always bring up issues that directly or indirectly if affects our society. So this whole thing, my one concern is the level of misinformation that is out there, guys, and it is incumbent upon you guys. When I say incumbent, because you guys are a reputable network, a reputable individual on this network. That's why I am honored to be a part of it. uh, the level of misinformation concerning this visa extension, I don't know if it's deliberate or not. So I was watching this one thing. This interviewer, he went to the chemistry one of those intellectual centers, guy, and they were asking people, and this one guy said that well, we are happy for the visa extension because it will help to, it will help more Liberians to go abroad for studies. Imagine that, brother. Guys, I'm telling you, as much as
uh,
it sounds funny, I want us to know what is going on out there. He said that
Yeah.
people will go for studies in the United States, doctors, engineers. I'm like, what? And then somebody else talk about, well, it was encourage investors and all those things. So the level of misinformation out there is serious. And Sapalusi made a point that I want to flip around a little bit when he talked about the college thing. So even though he talked about the extension, let me bring it in. In terms of expedition. Say for example, Sharif and Dr. Pastor is supposed to spend 4 years in college. They say, you know what, we'll expedite this thing, guys. You got children, you got family. We only make college maybe 2 years. You got 2 years to graduate. That is not a guarantee that in that 2 years you will pass. And moreover, it will become more strenuous for you because while they're shrinking all your license, the time that Sherry had to study, Sherry like, oh, I got 4 years, man. I can mess around. You got only 2 years now. So now there will be a lot of things put in place that will be difficult. You can't do your homework at a particular time anymore. You have to present your work within a time frame and everything. So that's how I see this extended. These people in this country, for what I learned here, guys, I saw people picking up penny. I used to throw penny away. The one we call one cent. Yeah, the people they don't. There's nothing free in this country. The American people, they don't give you anything free. So you think you got extension? So you will find a long queue and go to that embassy and it will be like an exodus of people coming here. No. So I want people to know these things, and our public should be informed. And you guys are doing a great job highlighting this issue so that people can know what is going. I know sometimes they will call us enemy of the state because when we bring this thing up, they say, "Oh, the progress coming, you just be happy." So we can't analyze anymore, guys. So I mean, that's what I got to say. I
Yeah.
just rest my case for now.
All right, man. So, Sabu Lucia, I'll let you do one last word on this topic before we move forward,
No,
and then
let move
we'll go
forward,
ahead.
Sheriff. Let move, Sheriff. That's
Okay,
that
so
ship's
but
yeah.
the last thing I want to say on this particular topic has to do with some things that people are not taking into consideration. October last year, Liberian government, you guys were the first. You decided that U.S. citizens, you're going to give them 3-year visa now. Because when I was going to Liberia, I always get my visa. It was always 1 year, Sabalusia, always 1 year. You went ahead and you said, okay, we'll give you 3 years. So last year when I got my visa, and now I got a 3-year visa. And when you did that, the US government said, okay, I'm going to reciprocate. I'm going to give you guys something too. That does not mean you lower your standard for me to get a 3-year visa. I still go through my process, you know? And it's the same way the US government, they still keep that process. So you scratch my back, I scratch my back. If you want to give my people a 3-year visa, I will give your people a 3-year visa. Diplomacy at the highest level. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the standard of getting your visa. That's the
Yeah.
last thing I want to say. The next thing I want to go and talk about, gentlemen, let's talk about Sapulisa, you made this point that there's some sort of high level firing or dismissal taking place in the country. The president is actually dismissing some folks. I want you to take the lead on the story and then we'll just keep going. And then Riverside Pro will come in and we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, so if you look at what have happened under this administration, there have been some high profile firing, but most of them were either in regard to public disorderly conduct when it comes to the drug enforcement. Some of them were in regard to some mismanagement of fund or resources, fund and other stuff. But the last two caught my eyes. The main one that really caught my eye is the one at the National Public Health Institute. Because I followed that particular story in depth. Because when I visited Liberia 2024, I knew somebody that worked there and I met with them, I talked to them. During the time the Ebola broke out, because that was the establishment of that particular institution. Then the guy Tober, what's his name? Tober Nyanti or Nyanti Tober, something like that. He was the head at the time. And when I was following that institution, because I'm in the laboratory, so I follow those kind of things in Liberia. At the time, and I could get the number wrong, but it was in the millions. I don't want to get exact figure, but the grant that particular institution was receiving was in the millions, right? When Toba was there, I think his name was Toba Yanti. It was in the millions. But then the CDC government came in, they fired him, and they fired the reputable guys that were keeping that institution up. So the morale of that institution dropped. They went from in the millions to getting $300,000 grant. Then comes Dr. Yan. Okay? Dr. Yan comes in and is getting recognized by the international community again. Then all of a sudden, one morning, because I have Front Page Africa as one of my alert, and I get this alert, Nya is dismissed. And I'm saying, what? I thought the National Public Health was one of the things that were doing better for us in the country. Only to find out, so I decided to really dig in, right? So they fired him, and they sent a letter from Front Page Africa that I read. But there was no specificity. Some of the things they said was, according to the board, because it was the board that sent the recommendation for him to be dismissed. He was not furthering some policy. He was giving public statement or giving information to the president or the legislature without informing the board or getting the board approval. One of the charges or allegation was he did not give them the budget, the approved budget for them to view it before he submitted it. And
so I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but I mean, I want to make sure we can keep going. But what do you think? Well, I know you're going somewhere with this. So
Yeah,
you now think that there is something going on that is not within the framework that it should be. So
exactly.
with him, yeah.
So what the point I make, because he get a rebuttal and he gave every count, and I read the entirety in totality. He gave each point that the reason for which they gave to dismiss him, but he gave a counter and he provided evidence to the president based on his letter. And then this is somebody who I felt was doing well for the country based on employees of that institution that I speak to all the time, right? That he was doing well for the institution. He had raised the institution from where it was during the CDC government, and now it's elevated. And we even saw recognition recent time in West Africa. The African CDC recognized the institution just recently, only to see him to be dismissed. But then when you see his rebuttal, it seems like the board did not approve of what he was doing because he was heading, in my opinion, and from my reading of the two communication, because he was elevating the institution and trying to get rid of corruption. Because according to him, the board were having meeting that they not supposed to have without his consent, but they wanted to be reimbursed for it. And we are following the LEC and other institution board directors in Liberia. They don't even have meeting and they get paid. And he was not willing to pay those money to those board directors. And this is just from past experience in other administration. And then it comes to Wilmer Pay. He gets fired. He's another guy again who people in the country, I don't know him well, but based on news media in Liberia, how he's held to some high extent, right? That is from him. That's what I'm basing my or collection on. But for Dr. Nyan, I saw his footprint, so that I can say. So these are two people that I see that got good reputation in the country, heading in the right direction, but they get fired, and there is no kind of tangible that I can see that they were fired for. But then the one that happened at the public health is the co-chair of the board at public health becomes the new interim director. You who the board member, how can you become interim director? I mean, those are things I'm looking at. I'm saying, okay, something is not right here, and I could be wrong. But these are things we need to look at and see whether the Liberian people are being the priority of this government, or they're just doing it based on how much I can receive from this entity to keep this still running, or the inner circle, whatever the inner circle can benefit instead of the country as a whole.
So River Pro, let me bring you in, okay? Because thank you, Sabalucia. Let me bring you River Pro, because recently when Wilmer Pay got fired, I think one of the quotation, I would say he probably got the quotation of the year that everybody running around. He said, I mean, he get a very good farewell speech, and I listened to his whole speech. And one of the quotation that people took from that speech is where he made the remark. He said, "Working for government is the borrowing somebody kosu." You know, and he said, whenever you borrow somebody kosu, you wear it, make sure you get a t-shirt under it, because that person can ask for it anytime. We know the point he was trying to make. We know the analogy he was trying to make. But his speech, when I listened to it, he highlighted a lot of the things that he have done, decentralizing the department and the ministry, and a lot of things that he actually highlighted. It really spoke to me. So what do you think about some of these high profile firing? Do you think the government is, a lot of people celebrate it and say, yeah, the president is fighting corruption. But like Sapo Lucia said, I've seen nothing that says he was corrupt or he was into a bad business deal or he was doing something behind the scene. I've not seen anything. Do you support the idea of people saying that the president is doing this, he's taking action because he's fighting corruption, or do you think there's more to this?
Well, thank you, Brother Sheriff. So I think there's this general perception that Waka is doing great because he's holding people accountable. That's according to the public out there, his supporters and other Liberians are saying, well, this is something that George Weah was not capable of doing. So people are hailing those, I mean, these dismissals, these firing, however you call it. But my thing is, I want to dwell on Dr. Nyan. I believe, I listen to a Wilmer Pay. I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know much about that department. But to me, I feel he's replaceable. But when you look at in the medical field, I see why it hit home to guy like Sapolosi. These people are, these are the shortages we have in society. People in the medical field. Sapolosi deal with a blood-borne pathogen and thing. Those are issues that we have, and it's up to now. And Sherry, when we were growing up back in school, yeah, I mean, we rarely saw what's the thing name?
Laboratory
Microscope.
microscope.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah,
two. We had two in the FQ building. Two.
yeah.
We had
Okay,
200 students. Two microscope in FQ building, sweating
yeah.
everybody business.
Everybody go there and spy on it. Everybody go and spy. Whether you understand what was on it or not, you just shake your head and pass. That's how it was. So when
Yeah.
yeah, when you know when you have guy like Dr. Young, when he's being firing, I mean when he gets fired, it kind of hit home. You like, hold on. These are the particular area that we have deficit in. If he fire and the circumstances surrounding his firing is so cloudy. I got people from Liberia with the government say, well, I see you're making posts. You guys don't know what's going on there. It's been long in the making. It's been a year. But what exactly? But they're not saying it. But this is not setting a good precedent for people like Sapolose who will say, well, tomorrow I want to go serve my country. And you got this man. I didn't really know this guy, but I went through his profile and he has some great success out there. But this man just got dismissed. And then the implication for me there is, which makes it more kind of ugly, is his replacement is from Lofa County, guys. I don't want to get into the travel thing, but that's how people look at things. I got friends, educated friends, who say, you see what they did to Nyan? They removing and put this lady from Nima, Lofa County. So, guys, this is not setting a good precedent. Just by firing people, I don't think it makes you, it makes you a tough leader, especially when you fire people with no substantial evidence, with no real case. Donald Trump, if so, maybe Trump is one of the best because he fired people more than I've ever seen before. But does that make you a good leader?
But you know,
Yeah.
but Robert says, pro. The people say,
Mhm.
the people say, Nigeria, they say everybody serves at the will. That's the one thing that everybody get hold on to. They always say everybody serve at the will and the pleasure of the president. So the president put you there today. He like you tomorrow. He take you out. He ain't got to give you reason. He removed
Yeah.
Amin Modab. We didn't cry about it when he removed Amin Modab. We did not cry.
True.
But the reason we did not cry is because, number one, everything was in the news. We knew what Amin was doing. We knew exactly
True.
the corruption, the backdoor thing that Amin Modab was doing. So we didn't have a
Yeah.
problem with that. We said,
Yep.
good job, Mr. President. Definitely get rid of these people. But
Yep.
the other ones that we're talking about, these are, and especially when you talk about Dr. Nyan, we're not just talking about people in the medical profession, but we're talking about qualified people in the profession.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that is what Dr. Positive has said to me one time. He said, look, we should go back and do a topic. Do we get more lawyers than people that we need to use in the everyday field? Because everybody's some kind of lawyer in the country.
Mhm.
Anyway, but that's a different story. Stevie, I want you to talk on this particular topic before we move forward. No, you
Yeah,
are
I just
muted.
want to chime in on what you guys are discussing. This is great, and I was reading this briefly, and they said the president fired Wilmer Pay, for example, who is a close person to him. They didn't expect him to fire that. So I just want to touch on that before I go in detail. So what we're saying is, if somebody was a political confident, like if the person were working with me, they can't do no wrong. That's what this article is saying. And I think Liberian people, we should be cautious, because if we are saying that once somebody was close to somebody, they are untouchable, then we're creating a precedent that is not good for the country. So like you guys are saying, I think when the president fire anyone, what we should push the president or the government to show is the genuine reason behind that person being fired, right? And once that is put forth, and the public can then decide, hey, if it was right or wrong. But I don't think we should just say that, hey, if this person is this close to the person, if the person was part of the party, they don't need to be fired. I think that's wrong. And people that are saying that in Liberia, I think you guys should stop, because if we want our country to move forward, in order for Liberia to rise, people have to be fired if they are doing the wrong thing. But I don't think, if we don't show proof, then it become bad. Right on Dr. Yan, and I hear you guys talking. Dr. Yan is highly qualified. He shouldn't. I'm hearing like he should have been. He's not untouchable. I don't want to believe that either. Right? Let's find out from the president. Hey, this guy was highly qualified. The person you're replacing him with is what is their level of qualification? That's the first question I will ask. Whether she's from Lofa County, it could have been a coincidence, right? Whether she's from Lofa County or Bon County, it could have been a coincidence, but what is a level of qualification? Is it match to what to the person she's replacing? If no, then could the president have been cautious? Could there have been a warning to this guy to say, Dr. Yan, you did this, we're going to put you on a 6-month probation. If you don't fix this, we're going to fire you. You understand? In that case, you have somebody that is highly qualified. You don't want to get rid of them. You give them warning. So if there was no warning, there was nothing, then I think the president or whoever did that firing was wrong. But I don't think we should just say because he was highly qualified that he's untouchable. No, if the president and the government can give proof, or they should have even gave him warning based on his qualification and say, hey, guy, we will keep you here for some time. If you continue this attitude, then we will fire you. But I will still like to research to find out why he was really fired.
I've already given you. I can give you the.
Sapolisa, go ahead and make a point. Sapolisa, go ahead and respond.
Yeah, because I already did all of the research in between that to find out. Okay, why? Because this is a place I'm interested in. Why and how? Okay, so the person that he was. Let's go back to who he was replaced by. The person who was replaced by one of the accusation. I mean, one of the person who accused him or who gave the allegation, because she was the co-chair of the board of directors for the particular institution. So, in my opinion, that's a conflict of interest. That's one. Okay, because I cannot give an allegation against you and say, "Hey, this person is not doing this. This person is not doing that," and then when they remove me and they put you there, to me, then there's something wrong right there.
Somebody should have been interim. Yeah.
But then when it comes to based on his rebuttal, I'm referring to his rebuttal letter because if you read his rebuttal letter, he gave points by point, 11 counts, and he answered every one of them with evidence. Okay, communication. He gave instances where he communicated with the board of directors. When it comes to him meeting the legislature, he gave incidences where he informed the board that when he talked about leaving the country, he gave incidences where he left the country and who he talked to. And he quoted the policy, the guidelines or the requirement that is needed when he leaves the country, who replaced him and how it's done. Everything is spelled out in his rebuttal. I have not seen, because I've been trying to find out to see whether there's somebody's going to come back and say, okay, this is why we remove him and stuff like that. Nothing. Since he gave that, the place have gone silent. So if the public or if the government does not want us to conclude, then they should not come up and give us a reason why he was fired. There is nothing indicating that he mismanaged money. They say he didn't collaborate with anybody. That's one of their stuff. But he get instances where he collaborated with the JFK, with the Ministry of Health, with other entities. Everything. I mean, you go just Google Dr. Nyan stuff and you'll see everything information I'm telling you. So it's not hidden, but the government have not given us anything. When you go to the executive mansion website, you don't see any reason why he was fired. So that's why the Liberian people need to start finding out why a certain group of people being fired without the explicit information that we heard from Muda, that we heard from the drug enforcement officer, that we heard from other places. Why is that happening? And we know of other people who are also, like the Internal Affairs Minister. He mismanaging fund, building something that cost $5,000. He called it about $100,000. He talked about extension of the Ministry of Internal Affairs office. We all know that's corruption. Why is he not on investigation? And there are other things out there in the news that you can see about other high-ranking people in his government that we don't hear about investigation. So the Liberian people need to be opening their eyes to see these things. Let us define what we want our country to be. Yes.
We got to go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each of your points. And Stephen, my last piece I'm going to say on this, and then we're going to transition. By no means are we saying that if anyone is qualified, they should not be touched. No one is indispensable. If you are qualified and you misrepresent the administration, you do something, definitely there should be a consequence for that. So no one is saying on this platform that once you qualify, you should be untouchable. Yeah, so that's not what the guys are saying. But guys, let's touch I think she was the former chief of protocol for President Weah. I think her name is Finda Bondo. You guys probably are familiar with that name. And there were a lot of different things that were taking place, whether drugs were coming in the country. She was being accused of this and all of those different things. But one of the leading stories that came out in October is an investigation that she's undergoing. And basically for alleged corruption. And you want to call that, a fake business account. The CDC government was paying a lot of money to this particular woman because it was alleged that the government owed her some money for a business deal, and that money is now being looked into. What do you guys make of this story? Let me start with you, Real Pro. What do you guys make of this story, this Finabondo investigation story, and all of the corruption? I think, does it go back to show that the CDC government was super corrupt and it was just bankrupt in the country? I don't know. What do you make of the stories, Real?
So with that story, that story has a lot of the investigation uncover a lot of things, right? But I think for me, not in defense of Finabondo, but I think people in the public and people in the United Party government, they cherry pick what they wanted. Because when I went back to the story, it says since 1980, and there was 77, or how you call it, or 77 of such deal. But out of the 77 though, Brother Sherry, they only took off
Yeah.
Finabondo. So the whole thing was politically motivated because, like you said, Finabondo was a household name, a lot of accusation. So those are the things that fit their narrative. Let's throw Finabondo right out there, and the public will eat her up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, okay, what happened to the rest of the 76? They're not telling us anything. They're not telling us anything. So this thing goes as far back as probably Samuel K. those time. Why are
But
those
but, you,
businesses?
but Marissa, let me ask you, bro. Do you think it is fair for the government to go way back to SKD time and say, "Look, let's look into that"? No, the government they can only audit the one they're taking over from. Don't you think that would be justifiable to do so?
No, because Sherry, let me, I don't want to deviate, but let me bring in a guy that was in Samuel Kato government that committed atrocity. He was here in the United States. Remember, since 1980 something, that guy got caught. There was no statute of limitation to say, oh yeah, because he was in AFL. That man got arrested by immigration because he gave false information. He gave misleading information. Well, whereas people know him, he was one of those that were involved in atrocity. So you see how far back the United States government went. So this government is incumbent upon this government to go back. You can just go and pick out of 76, Brother Sherry, 76 cases, and you only got this one woman, and you think that's a medal, and you think that's a trophy. So what happened here is the government should be careful. I know CDC throw this whole witch hunting around, they just use it. But then it's coming to the point that there were a few years. Because even people in Ellen government, there are people in Ellen government. Imagine Ellen's son. That I don't know one of them, the one that died, but the one that was with at the central bank, they were broad stealing, and even Ellen herself took responsibility. So I mean, let's forget about the Dotan. Ellen government 12 years. So those 12 years, you think Ellen didn't do nothing but judge? We are 6 years. That's where all those 77 cases for. Absolutely no. That report needs to be thoroughly investigated. Yeah, Finabono is a corporate. Yeah, we know that. She going on an investigation. But we want to know who are the rest of the 76. So to me, that's a fair question. That's legit. So we, the public, got to know. Yeah, we agree. For me, I'm for accountability. I tell people, if it is found that George, we are all everything he accumulated his thing, if it based on corruption, it should be confiscated and he should go to jail. Whoever. I am for corruption, but I want corruption to be investigated holistically. I don't want you to cherry pick the case that you want that will appeal to your audience, that will appeal to the public. No. That is unfair.
Okay, so but you're not. I want to go to Sapolucia, but you're not denying that. You're not denying the fact that there's a validity that this is legit. You're not denying that fact.
Oh no, I'm not denying it. I'm not denying the legitimacy until it is proven otherwise.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Sapolucia, go ahead, sir. Take a pick on the story.
Yeah, so you see the whole auditing stuff that the government sent out, access recovery they call it. I think it had already been a failure. Okay, so I don't really want to give them any credit anymore. I don't give them any credit anymore because when the government took over, they were amped up about this access recovery. First, in fact, they themselves were involved in corruption initially. Right after they were inaugurated, we saw money that were being spent that was not appropriated based on the procurement requirement in Liberia. They did not investigate that in their own government. They started from the State for Presidential Affairs. They were accused right in there. Okay. Their own chairman, the chairman of the Unity Party, were involved in corruption. So if you want to tell somebody to clean their house, your house should be clean. So I think if the government really serious to fight corruption, they should look within themselves. In fact, right before this particular topic you brought up, I talk about the Internal Affairs Ministry, the renovation or the extension they were adding at the Internal Affairs Ministry. Was it warranted, and how much did it cost? So you cannot tell me you're going to investigate the opposition while you yourself are doing the same thing. And then some of the people who we feel are legitimate, who work in the interest of the people, you're firing them for personal reason. So if you really want to tackle corruption, like River says, process, be holistic. Let us be transparent. Let us make sure that we empower the people, because the asset recovery at some point, even right now, GSC, LACC are not being financially potent to fight cases. There are so many investigations that go on, even in their government, that they cannot bring to the court.
Yep.
Because everybody gave the excuse that the court is backlogged. So you cannot fight those things. If they're really serious about fighting economic crime, in my opinion, and that's what some of us stand for, economic crime as opposed to war and economic crime. I don't want the two to be put together. Establish an economic crime code, and then we can go as far back as you want. But we shouldn't be bringing this political Trojan. Throw one out there, everybody grab onto it, and then you lying and doing all that stuff in the back. Because that's all they're doing here, in my opinion. Putting smoke up there. While you're looking at that smoke, they carry on their dirty deeds and keep going on with the process. And Liberians being somewhat, unfortunately, some of our Liberians being gullible, they grab onto those news, they're running up and down and making noise, while the very people who they're talking about are stealing and doing other things that are unnecessary. But again, we need to look at our country, how we can develop our country, what is meaningful, what is best for our nation, not what is best for Buckeye, not what is best for Unity Party, not what is best for ANC, not what is best for CDC or any political party for that matter, but what is best for the Liberian people. And if we're going to do that, we have to address issues holistically. That's what I got to say on that issue.
You guys just be careful, because one of these days, one of you guys here, somebody on this platform will be somebody in Nigeria. Whether you guys are going to be senators, you're going to be representative. River says, pro, you might say, when you go wrong, I will run for you. So just be careful what you're saying here, because it's been recorded. Even go ahead, sir.
Now, man, why would you put that thing before you let me talk? Man, now I can say what I wanted to say. So with my neck on the chopping board, I would say the president and the government have started a good path, right? To even talk about audit, that's a blessing in disguise in its own. Right, but like Sapolosia and River Says Pro said it, that we cannot be haphazard on our investigation, on our audit. And I keep saying on this platform, Sherry, that until we set up an independent entity that is like the Accounting Certification Bureau of Liberia, or some kind of investigation bureau of Liberia that investigates financial crimes in Liberia, that is independent of every government that get put in place. So that person get appointed by the people, they stay in office maybe for 6 years or something like that, and we change them for the next election or something like that, where they go through and investigate every government. From the day you're coming office, I think Bwaka was talking, the president was talking, everybody should declare their asset and nobody even put pen forward. So that entity will be responsible. If you don't declare your asset, you cannot even run for office, right? When we start from that level.
Your president here declare his asset. Better move from here. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So again, our president here coming be king, so that one are different things. So let's just read our topic for another day, right? But until Sharif, until we have an independent entity, right? This person is working, like you said, at the will of the president. So the president said, I want you to investigate John Paul and Mr. Brown. Those are the people that will be investigated. And then once the people get caught, the president get his green mark that he's doing well, and he move on. You understand? And then everybody else that been stealing money under his eye, nobody get watched. But I believe the only way something like this will work, we have an independent entity that is not under the president control. So that person from day one, that department is funded. There's a budget line item that says the department get $1 million, and that $1 million is meant to pay for this, that. And then they use that money to investigate every government offices, right? That play with money, every government offices that play with money, everybody that is employed. right? We have to know them. So in that case, then even that entity is then kind of responsible to other people that are bringing in their resume to say, oh, I have a PhD. That department will be the one that will say, hey, your PhD, there's no university called Sepakon University. You understand? And they will deny you for entry into the government. So until we look at the big picture, Sharif, I think we all wasting our time. And every government will come and will do their own audit, and they'll just stop to their opposition, and that's it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. And just one last thing I want to say here. I just want to say, look, our problem in our country, it is not the lack of these entities that you guys are talking about. It is not a lack of rules or laws or guidelines. We have everything on the books. Traffic, account, auditing, we got all of these things on the book. But it's the implementation and just holding people feet to the fire and making following through with it. That's what I see to be one of the biggest things. And when you decide you want to set up this entity to actually do your auditing, Stephen, which is a great idea, you'll be ready to protect them. Y'all saw
Yeah.
what happened in the CDC government. Auditors were dying left and right. When you say you start putting, you get ready to build soldiers around them
Oh
to
yeah, they will
protect them.
have their own security, like you're saying. They will have their own security. They will have their own judges. They will have their own lawyers and everything.
Okay,
So
I mean,
again, political parties that are going in off that running for office or thinking about running for office is to start thinking about the big people who really mean well for Liberia. Because Sharif, honestly, if I'm truthful enough, right, and Liberia does well, I will also do well as a president, and my people will do well. The fact that even our senators can be complaining, oh, our people we need to make more money because when we make more money, they will come beg up for money. That thing are nonsense. If you do things right, where you have accountability, money will flow in the country. Money will flow, and everybody will get their share. You understand? But again, I'll stop there, Sharif. I'm not running my
appreciate it.
political campaign right now. I'll stop there.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. So, but guys, I talked to Chris already. I think we can go for another 10 minutes here, so another 7 minutes. But I want to end on this topic. And Sapolisa, I'm going to start with you. This actually come with, again, the economic disparity in the country, the economic hardship in the country. Because of that, most of our brothers and sisters want to leave. I always give this story about somebody I met in Liberia who is University of Liberia graduate. That brother was riding bike, motorcycle. He's a motorcycle guy. And so I rode with him and he told me all his story. And I said, wow, here's a brother who went to the university, did it the right way, got his degree, can't find a job. Because of that economic disparity, because of the economic hardship, a lot of young people, a lot of people want to leave the country. And the one way that everybody have been able to leave the country every year is through this diversity visa. They get the DV, they win the DV, hopefully they get someone here and they come over. That's one of the easiest way to go. Then that 3-year visa, they don't want it anymore because they get their permanent resident when they get here. But this year has been one of those anxiety years. Usually the DV, they start playing in October. But everybody I've talked to in Liberia, they would say, "Oh, what happened to the DV? DV not playing. We've been checking the internet cafe, but they say no DV." And everybody is kind of like having this anxiety going on. And I spoke with some people this week, and they told me, "Oh, they said November 7, the DV will start," and all of this anxiety. Why is the DV such a big deal in our country, Sapo Lucia? I think I answered the question, but why is it a big deal? And why are people so anxious whether our president here cancel the DV or not? People are so anxious.
You see, I'm a beneficiary of I'm one of those who benefited from the DV. And it was something that if you followed the American economic at the time, why Bill Clinton initiated that, there was a reason. I know when I came here, way back, few years before I came in, my uncle would tell me, he said, "Oh, look, in the country, people will be calling your house to see if you want a job." And at the time, the job market was good, right? There was surplus of job and they did not have the workforce for that. And that is why Bill Clinton initiated the DV. Now, fast forward to the outside. I'm not giving the reason why Donald Trump should get rid of it. I don't know whether it is needed now for the American population. But to be realistic with you, This guy, I don't think he wants to support it. In fact, you and I know how much he's climbing down on immigration. We know that. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to see it, especially not from Africa and not from any country that is not European based. All right. So, but the solution should not be the solution for Africa or Liberia should not be diversity visa. It should not be finding ways for all to get out of the country. It should not be. And honestly, some of us don't want to be here. Ready to be realistic. I want to be back home. Unfortunately, our people are not making it easier for us. And it's not only the politician, it's even the common people. And we got to address these things holistically. Okay? The fact that Steve just ended with talking about senators asking to make more money so that somebody could go and beg them. That just, and I'm sorry to use the expression, it's just dumb. That I would take my time, go to LU, graduate, smarter than the guy who is in the house as a lawmaker, well educated, but that guy wants me to go to him and beg him for $25, $50 to go and feed my family. That is demoral. That's inhumane. That's demoralizing that person. What if the kind of development fund? What if the scratch card? What if the gasoline? What if all those money, those allocation they give them, we could use those money to invest in agriculture that will find employment. We invest in development of our people, missionary and all those stuff, where our people are trained. The opportunity I give them, security is there where I can go home and open a business and employ 5, 10, 15 people. And then you can go and employ more people. If we have that business going on, if we had a means of employment, job security in our country, people would not want to run away from Liberia. You and I were living in Liberia in the 80s. Not many Liberians were trying to go out of Liberia. No, even though there were people who knew about government, who knew that Samuel Doe was dictator and all that stuff, they didn't want left. But vast majority of Liberians did not want to leave Liberia. I remember when I was growing up, I just wanted to come to America, go to school. After I get my bachelor's degree in LU, I wanted to come here, get maybe my master's, and go back home. That was my focus as a child. But then when the war came, it discouraged us. Why? Because we could not find opportunity. The only reason Liberians want to get out of Liberia is because there is no opportunity. They don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. So what we need to start doing as a country, which is the responsibility of the country, of the government, is to provide the environment where jobs are created. The lawmaker, it is your responsibility to open a job security for your people, to open healthcare security for your people, road network, everything you think about that will create a sustainable living for your people in your country instead of trying to ask them to come and beg you for money. That's why I start with that.
All right. Robert says, Pro, go ahead, and then I will give Steve the last word, and we'll close on this.
Yeah. So guys, again, thanks, Dr. Sharif. Mr. Sharif. My man, all I had a doctor on the show. I just got a whole doctor. I just got a doctor impression about every one of you. But I think the anxiety surrounding this whole DV thing is number one. It stems from from Liberia knowing who Trump is. He's very erratic. During his first administration, he was against mass migration, resettlement, all that group thing. Trump wasn't into it. So that's the first thing because they know that the guy he's so he I mean, he's so kind of unstable when it comes to those kind of thing, and he's
Maybe it's people for
anti-immigrant.
coming here, that he
Yeah,
person talking about like that.
yeah, yeah, I know, and his anti-immigrant immigration rhetoric. But Sabolese struck a point that I was similar to what I was going to say. Guys, when we were growing up back then, people coming from America was just a matter of morale. Because in our mind, growing up, we saw those movies, we saw those skyscrapers in Manhattan, in California. Now you were, envisioning your person being in one of those buildings. They were not people coming from America were not a source of income. I had my uncle here, like I didn't really get nothing for him. I didn't care what but the fact that they're telling Sheriff, they're telling Sapolisi, they're telling Steve that, oh, the man uncle in America or his brother in America, that alone just gives you guys that extra edge in your neighborhood. It was not necessarily because of support. Because I mean, look, my father was a ordinary, country rural settlement, but he sent me to some of the best schools in town. You know, That's why even sometimes, like, I'm not against this development, but when it comes to water, people celebrate that. I said, no, do. I grew up in an environment where you could turn the pump, not hand pump, like real pump with fresh water, where I could turn switch and then light come on. So all these things, we had it. But the reason now people are desperate to leave the country because of the hardship. Because of the hardship, until this government make provision. It's almost like the resettlement program. I came on the resettlement program, guy. When they canceled the program, there were a lot of people were discouraged because people sold their things and other things. But eventually, what happened now? The program no more in Guinea, where I came from, Ivory Coast, it is not there. Ghana, no more refugee camp. People had gotten accustomed to that. Like, people had gotten used to it. People came back to Liberia. Initially, there was the north, oh, where the refugees, they just brought people, but they have blended into the society. Some of them are doing businesses, some of them are attending vocational, or some of them, I don't know what they're doing right now. But eventually, people forget that. So once the government start making effort, when in terms of jobs, guys, in terms of basic provision, in terms of needs and wants, people, look, that DV thing would just be, people would just, there are people who, I listened to the one guy, he said he stopped playing years ago. He just stopped because he put all his effort, especially when they brought this passport thing. You got to get passport. The guy said, I ain't going to take my something, whatever that amount for passport, turn around, gave me win DV. Because, I mean, besides that, I ain't going nowhere else. Why should I buy a passport that will expire? Then I got to go pay for it. So he didn't see the need. He said he stopped playing years ago, even though they updated the passport thing, but still. So, to conclude, the anxiety because of hardship, number two, and number one, like I said, Trump kind of like a behavior. But once the government start to make ways, guys, for basic provision, jobs, one job start flowing in our country, where they got factories for people to work, you know, it ain't gotta be no high tech job. We know India or China or or other top, or IT country. Just basic factory like the one we got here. I'm telling you, pretty soon people will forget our whole DV. Well, nobody will care about it. But the government should make effort. Even Joseph Waka say, I'm not gonna sit here and say everything is kind of bad. There are some positive things doing. The old man said something, for political expediences, some of us, we had to go against it because we're not part of their party. But he said that this whole staying people country is not sustainable. You need to come home. And he's right. But then on the flip side, he got to make provision available for the citizen to be encouraged to come home, guys. That's where I stop.
Thank you, Robert Pro. Thank you, Sabalucia. And Robert Pro, if you want to continue to come on our platform, you got to be careful, because when you say uncle that ordinary, Robert said, man, Sabalucia will get food mad with you. Sabalucia said no one is uneducated like bro. He said our system in our country before the white settlers came, it was the best. They took it away from us to wash our brains. So don't say that thing on our platform.
Okay, all right. All right.
Again, great discussion, gentlemen. So for me, I would like to first conclude with this, to ask the question. You said, why so many people are trying to come to America on DV? I would say I came to America as a refugee. Right now, Trump is saying only 7,500 refugees are allowed in America, and those refugees will be only white South Africans. Only white South Africans. So right now, you must say disqualified. You understand? I think you liked her. Sabolosi, he'll not even be in the picture because he darker, right? And sorry for my brother, Riverside Pro, he's not even closer. You must say, we can kind of get on the line small because we let her. But, right? Trump says only 7,500 people. So if our Liberian, just looking at that 7,500 West South Africans, we're not even in the South. So more even forget it, right? Now, with that said, Sharif, I keep saying this on this platform. Liberia need to change their educational system. We need to forget about it where Sharif go from ABC to 12th grade, he graduate, he go to prom, or now they go into prom. They dance, they celebrate, the people have party for him, then Sharif sit down and say, oh, I'm a high school graduate now. We need to change that whole thing, Right now in China, you got children that are 5, 10, 11 years old that are playing with cards, learning how to make watches, learning how to do stuff. We need to create a trade system where our children, by the time they finish from high school, they know how to fix car, they know how to fix tire, they know how to do something, so that when they leave, if I don't have job, opportunity to go to college, if I don't have money to go to college, I can start fixing my own chair and selling that to somebody else. I can start building houses and helping people to build their houses. Sherry won't go build a house. If I learn how to build a house in high school, I can tell Sherry, hey, I can build your house at a cheaper price. The men are professional. Maybe you don't need to work with him, but work with me. You understand? So those children will start making their own deals and start reaching out to people to say, hey, give me an opportunity. But when the kids graduate from high school, they have nothing to offer society, Sharif. They have nothing. I was a typical example. That's why I decided to go do draftsmanship at Tottenham High. When I graduated from high school, the next week, I started having depression, to be honest, because I never knew anything else. I couldn't read and write. You understand? And the fact that we went through the war, my English was not even correct, so I was worried. If they were asking me to be secretary, I'm going to fail, because all the time we're jumping back and forth during the war. I never learned all the English or the spelling I'm supposed to spell, so I couldn't be secretary correctly. You understand? So I said, I never had nothing to offer society. So shall we, on that note, if you ask the Minister of Labor right now, how many people are unemployed in Liberia? Nobody will tell you that. So how can we know the problem we have, the magnitude of the problem we have, when we don't have a count? You understand? So I would just end on that note. Just think about it. If we can find out how many young people are unemployed in Liberia, then we can find solution to solve their problem, to know that this is an emergency, a national emergency that we need to start handling now instead of tomorrow.
Gentlemen, I thank you guys so much for joining us today, and to our viewers, our listeners in Liberia on Freedom FM 87.9, we say thank you so much for joining us. Those that share our broadcast today on YouTube and Facebook, we say thank you. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so, because once we have this interesting discussion, you will be the first to get that alert that we are live on your favorite devices. So thank you again to my panelists, Dr. Positive. We say thank you for your views and your points. Emmanuel Sapalucia, thank you so much. River Says Pro, I appreciate it. You spent some time with us this afternoon. Always a pleasure to have you. That's my River Says brother. And so, gentlemen, look, it has been a good discussion. But next week, though, this conversation does not just end here today. Next week, Sunday, we are going to be coming back here again with another interesting discussion on Table Talk. And we'll bring maybe some more trending story. Maybe some of these stories we just discussed will have a follow-up. We'll know. Maybe it's after Sapalucia passionate plea. Maybe the government of Liberia will actually go ahead and give us a reason now as to why it really got rid of Dr. Nya. Maybe based on what we discussed today. You never know who's listening. We will have some kind of information as to why Wilmer Pay left. Wilmer Pay did not tell us, or why he got pushed out. He did not tell us in his speech. Maybe we'll get answer to some of these questions, because when we know these information, we can be very objective in our presentation. So I say thank you to each and every one of you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and God's willing, we'll see you all next week. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.